Hi, everybody. My name is Andrea Laplante. I'm a national marketing director with the Juice Plus Company. I'm also a certified health coach with the Dr. Sears Wellness Institute, but I'm a mom of three, which I'm very proud of. And I'm very excited to talk tonight about something that we are really passionate about with our wellness community, and that is growing our own plants, filling the body with clean, whole food. And we'll talk about that in a few minutes. But what I love about our tower garden, which is something we're going to really highlight tonight, is the sustainability aspect of it. Having three children and being a mom, the reason I came to this company was because my son overdosed on isolated vitamin supplements. It was a huge wake-up call for me. And I really started paying attention and looking into our food supply and how things were grown. And something that's very important to me is leaving the earth in a nice place for our future generations. So I have three children and I want them to grow up on a planet that's healthy. So we're going to talk about sustainability tonight, sustaining our health and sustaining the earth. And we can do both of those things with this particular product and being part of this company. Tonight is Tuesday, and every Tuesday night we have a Meant for More call where our community gathers to talk about things that are really important to us. And tonight we're talking about sustainability in the Tower Garden. So I'm going to introduce you to Tim Blank, and he is the creator of the Tower Garden. If you're very familiar with Disney, he created the land exhibit at Epcot. And he was real. A lot of people were coming up to him saying, hey, I love this technology. I would love to grow plants and be able to feed my family this way. So he ended up leaving Epcot to create the Tower Garden, which is an aeroponic growing system to be able to give growing back and put it back in the hands of individuals, and we could empower ourselves with our own growing. This is what the Tower Garden looks like. So the picture on the left with the smaller basin is the Tower Garden home. And the one on the right is the Tower Garden Flex. And the reason why the Flex is called Flex is because it's more flexible, more flexibility with bringing it indoors and outdoors. So I actually have the Flex inside and I bring it outside in the summer. I have two Flex actually, but the Tower Garden Home is something the company just came out with. And it's just an easy version to have indoors as well. So you can also bring that outside, but many people like to leave that indoors year round. And when we have grow lights on these tower gardens, we are able to grow year round indoor, which is amazing. So the tower garden it has no dirt. So you're not even worrying about diminishing or taking any of the topsoil away from the earth right now. We have about 60 more years where we have nutrition in the soil that's in the topsoil on our planet. And as we get closer and closer to that time, the nutrition in the soil will continue to be depleted, which will not nourish the human population as it grows. But this is an incredible solution. It's not only, it says 90% water. I have to update this slide. It's actually 98% less water, 90% less space, and 100% success. So you can just see it financially what a tower garden is worth, and you can take the time and ask the person if you want to see this slide to have send it to you. But if you think about buying organic produce, some of the lettuces that you grow and you're putting it in your fridge and you go into the fridge and it might be slimy, or you may have to throw it out, or it's being shipped and picked, so the nutritional value isn't what it used to be. And then you may not be able to use it if it goes bad and it's taking up space in your fridge, unlike what grows on the tower where you grow it and it stays on the tower until you pick it and you eat it. What I love about the sustainability aspect of it is it leaves a smaller carbon footprint. So I have a tower garden in my office. I pick it and I walk into my kitchen a few steps, and that's the amount of effort that it's taking. There's no packaging on the produce on my tower garden. If you go to the grocery store, you'll see many heads of lettuce are wrapped in plastic. And prior to that, they're shipped in boxes of cardboard with layers of plastic. So you're eliminating all of that packaging, which is absolutely amazing. It's tower to table, tower to smoothie, tower to mouth. You can just stand at your tower garden, pick it and eat it. You don't have to worry about that distribution channel. Only 10% of the land and water. Half acre of tower gardens equates to 30 acres of land and produce. That is absolutely amazing. You're using the air and the vertical piece of it, so you don't have to use the earth and the soil. and it recycles the water, so you don't have to worry about contaminants in your produce, which there are no recalls, there's no E. coli. You don't have to worry about that component, which is very important to me, raising a family and worrying about our family's health. Whether it's organic or not, we do the best we can, but organic is not 100% guaranteed that it's clean and safe anymore. So being able to have control of your own grains is absolutely a godsend. This is an image of what the tower looks like from week 1 to week 3, and you can see how much faster it actually grows faster in the tower than in the soil. You don't have to worry about pests. You can grow and plant what you love, and you have this wide variety. If you look at the slide on the right, you can see how those little seedlings are starting to grow in what's called rock wool, which is made from volcanic ash. So you just plant the seed in the rock wool and put a little vermiculite on it with some water, and your seedlings grow, and you pop them in the tower, and there they go. But I love to show the images of a few towers in different places in the world. These towers are on someone's deck in their backyard. This is a great example. I've heard of someone who has a tower garden in their closet in a city with grow lights. So it's if you use the home, it's even smaller space, but the tower garden flex is even 3 foot of space. So you can put this anywhere, and you can look at this image and see that it's in a high rise. So somebody within a high rise is able to grow their own greens. And many years ago, the Mindful Gardener, in Better Homes and Gardens, this was posted just for the beauty of it, but not only the beauty and what it does for the earth in terms of saving water and no contaminants, and alleviates the packaging and the carbon footprint, which is amazing. But now let's just blow your mind here and start thinking about how we can reach out into our communities and how we can make a difference and get clean food into people all over the world. Now, when was the last time you were at a stadium? Typically, you go to a stadium, any stadium, and it's typically hot dogs and sausages and French fries and hamburgers, the standard American diet. There is a Major League Baseball player named Hunter Pence who he actually said, you know what, we need to get some greens in our stadiums. And this is the AT&T Park in California, where they have towers where they're growing produce at the stadium, and they're using it for some of the food in the stadium. And that's just mind-blowing. If you can do that there, just think of what we can do around the world. This is the Green Brox machine. If you haven't heard of Stephen Ritz, just take a look and see what one man has single-handedly done to change the infrastructure of the South Bronx and able to get clean food into children. And not only children in the South Bronx, it's now taking it around the world, which is amazing. And you can see how they're growing vertically indoors and what this is doing for growing young minds. And we'll talk to Devon Almeida tonight after a few more slides. But this, I'm so proud, you guys. This is the Plainville Wood School, 4th grade class. This was my son's class, Will, my oldest son, with Miss Almeida. And what is so incredible about her, she's in the back there hugging. Of course, she's always giving the kids love and affection. And we brought tower gardens into the classroom. And when they grew their own produce, I had parents coming up to me saying, thank you so much for bringing these towers in. It's the first time my child ate any green or had any kale. I had a child come up to me and say, you know, that bok choy is really spicy. And she incorporated this into the curriculum. It was hands-on learning. The kids had a sense of accomplishment. They would walk by the tower, they would check the pH, and I'll let her share more, but just knowing that we're getting the nutrition, the math, the science, the technology, and even growing. We really don't have a lot of young people going into farming these days. So to be able to give them an idea, this was an event that we had. Once we grew the tower, we had all the kids, we brought some vegetables, and they had some turkey, and we had made turkey wraps, and the kids were picking their own greens after they grew it. And this picture just warms my heart, looking at all their faces with their plate of greens that they grew. Now, that's just amazing. This is a school in North Attleboro, several schools in North Attleboro. There are 11 towers in their schools now, from the kindergarten all the way up through high school. You can see this is an image of towers and a preschool, and they're using that as curriculum for the kids throughout the day to grow. And then taking it outside of schools, these are restaurants. This is Bell Book and Candle in New York City, where they have a tower garden farm on the roof, and all the produce is grown to sustain the restaurant below. I actually ate there. The restaurant's fantastic. This is a Tower Garden Farm in O'Hare Airport. It had the world's first farmers market indoors, and all of the produce in this farmers market is used to sustain the restaurants in the airport. And some of the other things outside that we can do. This is a VA Tower Garden Farm, and the vets are going in and growing the produce and using that in their communities. So you can really think outside the box and use this as a tool to help bring communities together. This is just an image of mine that I've had. You can't really tell, but with the blinds there were probably 3 feet of snow outside at that moment. And I was growing my greens indoors when it was freezing and snowing out in New England. And that, just talk about giving control back and being able to grow year round. It's just such an honor to be able to have this as a solution. And you can see here, you could be close to the beach, not much growing when you have sand, but just put it on your patio and it's right near the ocean. This is a great image of what Tower Garden Farms look like around the world and how much nourishment this can provide people around the globe. And this is an even bigger one here. And we just had a Tower Garden Farm pop up in Colorado, and they're using the produce to sustain the communities. And they're having this huge long table where the community is coming and gathering and sitting together and eating their produce together. You can have various towers with certain plants on them, or you can grow your variety. And I love the image of the RV with the towers, because you really can bring them anywhere as long as you have an outlet and you can allow that electricity to turn the timer off and the water pump with a water source. You can take it basically anywhere. So at this point, 10 reasons to start a tower garden. Really, you can take a look at this slide. It's made with food grade plastic. You'll save money. I remember ordering mine, and I think I started saving money within the first 6 months because of how much greens. I use so many greens in my smoothies every day. 98 saves 98% water. It includes everything when you order it. There is no pests that you have to worry about, and if you do, it's I haven't had any pests inside. That's just something outside. A lot of people have asked me, do you have a lot of pests with an outdoor garden? And because the water kicks on, it scares the pests away. So that has not been an issue. What I'm so excited about, there are no harmful fertilizers, pesticides, or herbicides. You don't have to worry about weeding. This is great for elderly, nursing homes, children. It's more nutritious. It's vine ripened, and it is going to help with our global situation of feeding the world. And it's an incredible solution for sustainability. So at this point, I'm going to stop the share. And I would love to introduce Devon Almeida so that she can share a little bit about why this made sense to her as a teacher and how she started incorporating this into the classroom.
Thanks, Andrea. Hi, everyone. I was so excited when Andrea asked me to come here and be with all of you and share just a bit about what I've done in my classroom and then in my school. So Andrea is pretty much my hero. I was blessed enough to have her 2 sons, wish I had her daughter, but she put into my lap the Tower Garden, and it really transformed my experience as a teacher and my students as well. It's been amazing watching the process over these past few years as I've been using the Tower Garden. So I just want to kind of speak to what my experience was and kind of how it all started. So it was about 6 years ago or so. Andrea and I were trying to figure that out today, where she gave me a Tower Garden for my classroom. And I had no idea what I was doing. I am by no means a gardener nor a cook, but I said, let's do this. And so Andrea came into the classroom and did this phenomenal presentation with the kids about nutrition and fueling our bodies, which was really empowering for my students. And it was amazing to see how so many kids are not informed about food and the power of food. That's by no fault of their own. So I really began to believe that it was critical that we're teaching these things in the classroom, because many of these kids are going home to parents who may not know this information, or just aren't informed. So that was really empowering. Nutrition has always been an important part of my life. I'm active, and I really look at food as medicine. So it really seemed like the perfect fit to have this in my classroom and to partner with Andrea. So like I said, she came and she presented about healthy eating and just the power of the tower, how it saves space, it saves water, all of the things that she just presented in the slideshow. And my students were absolutely captivated. They couldn't get enough. They began asking a million questions. And, you know, when you excite them and spark that curiosity, I think anything is possible. And so from there, my students became the gardeners. So by that, I mean, they were the ones who planted the seeds, they cared for the garden, they monitored the growth. And like Andrea was mentioning, I was really able to pull in so many components of our curriculum. We were doing graphing and tracking the growth of the greens, talking about how much water was in the tower, talking about electricity, all of those things that really connected to the things that I was teaching in 4th grade, not to mention what we teach about plants and plant cycles and all of those things. So it really connected seamlessly. But the best part, you know, aside from connecting to the curriculum, which is so important, was seeing the kids' excitement, and they were devouring the garden. So as it was set up in my classroom, like I do with snack time, I don't have a time, you know, I'm not going to tell anyone when they're hungry. And so I kind of had that same approach with the tower garden. And I said, you guys can eat off of this whenever you want. And they were like wild little animals going to this tower and picking off of it all day long. And it was one of the most powerful experiences that I've had that first year, having this garden and witnessing that. And like Andrea was saying, with the kids, you know, talking to her about the greens that were there and talking about what they were eating, I had kids that were saying to me, Miss Almeida, this tastes way better than what my mom buys at the grocery store. And, oh, I've never tried bok choy, like she mentioned, and talking about how it was spicy. They were so excited about the food that they were eating. But more than that, I think the tower garden really empowered them to think about what they were putting into their bodies. And ultimately, that for me is what this is all about. You know, we're preserving the environment, we're preserving water, we're saving space, all of those things. But for me as a teacher, the tower was the vehicle that I used to help educate my kids about the importance of food and nutrients, and the things that they're putting into their body. So I had kids swapping out greens from the tower garden in place of Doritos and cookies. And that was the moment for me when I just felt like this was the magic trick. And I think, you know, I've taught for 15 years, and I see when kids know better, they do better. When they eat well, they do well. It's that simple. And so this really empowered them, and it got them excited about food. I had parents emailing me and calling me and saying, what have you done? They're begging for salads and for greens and all of the things that they were eating off of the tower now at home. So it was really transformative for the kids. So all of this is going on with my kids, and I just felt, oh my gosh, more kids need to experience this. It's not fair to kind of hoard it and keep it just to my own students. And so Andrea and I connected, and we were talking about ways that we can get more in the hands of the kids. And so the first step that I took, rather than having it in my beautiful classroom, I said, let's open this up to the whole school. So I brought the tower down to our front foyer. That's the high traffic area in our school. Everyone has to come in and out of those front doors. And I also knew that that's where visitors come, and that's where parents are coming into the school. So I knew that if it was in a visible spot like the front foyer, more people would start going, what's that? So I put up a big sign next to it. I talked about what our class was doing. And that's when we said to the whole school, I presented to the teachers and I said, listen, this is available for everyone. Educate your students, let them be a part of this process. Andrea has been, I can't say enough about her. She's been so wonderful. She presented to the whole grade. She's presented to the whole school so that my kids weren't the only students getting this information and having this experience. And it was so fun walking down the hallway, seeing kids pick off of it. And before lunch, my kids would actually take empty bowls and they'd go and fill their bowl with the greens and make their salad for lunch. I mean, how amazing is that? And again, they weren't bringing snacks to school and instead wanted to pick from the tower. So we're watching this unfold with the whole school. And I kept the dream going and I said, we've got to do more. And so again, Andrea and I worked together and we got funding from our PTO. and we ended up getting 4 additional towers, so we have 5 total. And we moved the towers in my school into the cafeteria, and we have a school right next door, and so 2 towers went over there as well. And I created a tower team. And so what I did was I took volunteers from each classroom in every grade, and they were part of this team to help maintain the garden, which is so easy, but they felt like big shots, so that was great. They were planting and harvesting and monitoring, and also spreading the word, because lots of kids and parents had no idea what this was. I made a point to invite all of the parents in every year from my classroom, and we would do tower tastings, and I'd bring in fresh vegetables, and we would just have a lunch together eating off of the tower. So it was a really inspiring experience. And I think putting this in the hands of kids is so important. They need to be educated about food and nutrition and the impact that it has on our bodies. And there's nothing better than the food that comes off of these tower gardens. And so it was just such an amazing experience. And then the best part was, after we had these for quite some time and they were in the cafeteria, I said to the cafeteria staff, don't just, stand over on the side and watch these gardens grow, use them. And so our cafeteria staff is now proudly using these greens in our school lunches. And, everyone here understands the importance of what children eat, and school lunches, unfortunately, are not often the most nutrients dense. So it's been amazing for the cafeteria to have these in our lunches, and the kids get so excited when they see that the tower is being harvested, and they'll go, oh, that's going to be in lunch today. So it's just been an incredible experience, and watching it go from just my group of 20 kiddos to the school, to 3 more gardens, to the cafeteria using it. It's really an incredible tool and connects beautifully to our curriculum. So any educators who say, well, it has to be standards related, it relates to everything. I remember too, one of the great presentations that Andrea did was about the water crisis, and that was really eye-opening for my kids. They didn't know about it. They didn't understand what's happening all over the globe, and then to see that this is a solution, this is something that we can do to help that problem, they felt so empowered, and they felt like they were contributing to a solution for this crisis that we're facing and have been facing. So that pretty much sums up my experience. It's been really effortless. The maintenance of these towers is so easy, and it's great because I get to take a step back and the kids take the lead, and they're happy to do so. So it's also not too much effort on my part either. It's just been such a magical experience to watch these kids fall in love with good, nutritious food and get away from the Doritos and the chips and the cookies. So I'll pass it back to you, Andrea. Thank you.
Thank you, Devon. I'm so grateful to you. First of all, thank you for showing up tonight you've had a full day with virtual teaching, which is crazy in itself. And then she took the time to come here and share this for us. So I can't even tell you as a mom how unbelievable it was to have 2 of my children go to school every day, loving their teacher, loving their curriculum. And she came to our house once, and when they were little, and they were so excited. She was such a rock star. But to be able to have kids excited about going to school because you have such an open-minded, passionate teacher that's empowering them in real life situations. Having an open teacher as a mom, when they leave us, we send them out into the world, and we hope that somebody out there is taken care of, and you are taking care of them. It's an extension of our family. So thank you so much for everything that you've done for my family, but for the community as well. And you're going to continue to do that and help so many children. So we're very grateful to you.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. So we're going to transfer now to Courtney. Courtney's going to tell us a little bit about her garden. And Courtney, you can just unmute yourself.
All right, I think I'm unmuted. Yep.
There you are. Okay, so Courtney and I just want to share a little bit of background with Courtney. She and I were best friends when we were younger, and we had the ability, social media sometimes can be overwhelming, but in the same sense, it can be such a gift. And we reconnected on social media. And she saw what I was doing. We had conversations about it. We originally connected about food in a capsule, the clean fruit, vegetable, and berries, which is Juice Plus, in a capsule and chewable. And it made sense to her adding that to her family. And part of this was the tower garden and extension, and she loves the tower garden. But look at the tower behind her. She's an expert now gardener. She's in New Jersey, indoor year round, but she's also started reaching out to her community. So I wanted you to share a little bit about that as well.
Okay. Thanks, Andrea. And thank you so much. I am really super jealous because I wish my kids had teachers like that and actually had towers in their schools while they were growing up. Like Andrea said, when I first joined the company, I went up to Massachusetts during the middle of the winter for a meeting. And I remember that was the first time I actually saw towers in person. They were over to the side of the conference room, and we had a great tower presentation similar to this. And Andrea and I went over there, and she's like, just pick some lettuce off of it and taste it. No one will care. There I am in the middle of the room with hundreds of people, and we're eating off of it. I'm like, this is amazing. So my love really started there. We had lots of phone calls like this, and I kept saying, I think this is what I want. I think this is what I'm going to do. So my husband's always super supportive, and he's the chef in the family. And he said, listen, if you can grow me my herbs and all the greens that I need to cook, have at it. So I love gardening outside, but I live in New Jersey, so we get snow just like New England, and it was tough to do all year. And with 2 teenage kids and a busy schedule, there's just no way. I just never had the time. So I decided for Mother's Day, I said, okay, don't anyone get me a present. I'm buying myself a tower, and I'm jumping in full force. So I put it outside the first year. I brought it in after the summer and started growing inside and got hooked with it inside because everything is just, it's amazing. Like Andrea said, to see it snowing outside and have fresh lettuce and greens and herbs. And that season when I brought it in, my husband said, these are the herbs I'm going to need to cook for Thanksgiving. Now go grow them. So by Thanksgiving, he sent me in with scissors and said, this is what I need. And I am not the chef, but I can certainly cut off my tower garden and give him what he needs. So a few things happened after that. My daughter happened to have a math tutor that came to our house while she was in 5th grade. And this math tutor was also the science teacher in 5th grade. So she walked in my door. This is in my dining room, and you can see it from my front door. She walked in, she looked at that, and she said, I don't know what that is, but you need to tell me about it, and I need one. So of course, my teenage daughter was so embarrassed and said, Mom, please stop telling her all about the tower. So the first probably 15, 20 minutes of our tutoring session, I told her all about it and the curriculum that goes with it. And she was just blown away. So every week when she would come to tutor, she would sit here at the dining room table, and they wouldn't even turn the overhead light on. They would just work by the light of the tower. And she said she enjoyed it so much. The water, it was soothing, it was quiet, and it was a beautiful place to sit and teach. So she was brainstorming all these ideas of how she could get it into her school. She sort of hooked me up with the head of the science curriculum for the entire school district. We had a great meeting. And of course, the first thing she said to me is, we have no money for this. And I said, wait, it is so inexpensive when you break it down and really find out what you're getting. And when she really understood that it would be part of the math curriculum, science curriculum, a great nutrition program for the kids. I mean, when she realized how much this gave, she really stepped back and said, I'm going to fight for this. And I would love to get them in all schools. But for right now, my daughter's intermediate school is piloting it in that teacher's classroom. And she absolutely loves it. She sends me texts throughout the year. Just like Devon said, you know, the kids go over and they water it and they test the pH and they're eating off of it. And they get super excited when they get to plant new seeds, and they walk over and look at the seeds and, oh my gosh, they're sprouting, and when can we put them in, and can I take that home, and can I eat the lettuce, and just all this excitement around something that they would never have had. She said that the teachers actually knock on the door at lunchtime and say, do you have any extra lettuce that we can bring down to the teacher's lounge, because they realize it's just so much better coming off the tower. So then, you know, besides her, I started thinking, well, what else can we do? Down the street from me is Duke Farms. It's a about 1,000-acre estate of the late James Buchanan Duke. And Doris Duke, his daughter, spent many years living in the estate. And when she passed away, she actually, rumor had it, she left it to the cats, but she left it to a foundation that would actually keep that land preserved. And in New Jersey, you know, that's really important because there's not a lot of open land anymore. But they kept it preserved, and one of their missions is sustainability. So I thought about them, and my kids and I go there often, and we ride bikes and we hike there. And they have this great farm barn orientation center, and it's all about sustainability and the different things that you can do for the earth. So I reached out to one of the women that work there and went in, we spoke about it. And when she realized how much of a fit it was, she said, geez, we're doing all these community gardens outside, and we could be bringing this inside and showing everybody in town that you can do this year round. It doesn't matter. It doesn't have to be outside. And so she really understood and was super excited to get started. So we got them started, and I'm excited to say that's been there probably 3 years now. And they have pamphlets at the front desk, because they said a lot of people will come in and check it out and go to the front desk and say, what is that? I need to know more about it. I will say that there are times when we stop by and we take a look at it, and I babysit it and make sure it looks okay. And but it's just so exciting to see that more people in the community get to see it, understand it, and understand there's different ways of gardening than the other gardens that they have on the property. So because of that experience, she had actually asked me to join a school program that they were doing for all the school garden, the heads of the school gardens in the area. And she wanted me to come in, stand next to the tower, explain to other teachers like Devon about how they could bring it into their classroom, what they could do, their curriculum. So while I was there, I was lucky enough to hear a big presentation by the head gardener at Princeton Day School. So Princeton is about 20 minutes south of here. And Princeton Day School is a very elite private school. And the garden program there was absolutely incredible. It blew me away. I thought, oh my gosh, I wish every school had a garden program like this. But I got curious, what are they doing all winter? Because the kids are out in the summer. So how much are they really getting out of this? This is a great program. So I sort of stalked the head of the garden program and went over and introduced myself, and we had a long conversation, and she said, give me a call. And we got talking and ended up going to the school and meeting them and getting a chance to tour. Their facility was amazing. They had just built a new atrium where they were going to actually try to grow. It was like an atrium greenhouse where they were going to try to grow more year round. So when she came back to the school saying, I found this, and I called and said, let's talk, and they realized that this would be a great addition to the school. So we first put one in Princeton Day School, and they wanted to just see how it went. And they were rolling it from classroom to classroom and in and out of the greenhouse. And when I was there, we met with the chef at their cafe. He was super excited. He was already putting in requests of what he wanted to grow on it, because he wanted his chefs to be able to pull herbs off of it. So they sort of said to me, I think we're going to need more than one. So sure enough, a few months go by, I get the phone call, I think we need 2 more. So there, I'm happy to say this year they have 3 towers growing. Of course, with the quarantine, everyone's home. And I've checked in with everybody, and they're missing them greatly. They say they go back and they visit them and they make sure they're being taken care of. They can do that at Princeton Day School. Unfortunately, the school here in town, my teacher friend can't get back in, and she'll text me once in a while and say, I miss it so much. She says, I miss seeing it. I hope it's okay. She talks about it like it's one of her family now, but that's sort of how I feel. You know, I often tease my kids, I like this better than them. It doesn't, you know, it produces all these beautiful greens. I like it. This is where I've set up for my quarantine work from home, and I love staring at it all day. It's absolutely amazing. So that's just a little bit about my community and the different places that we have it growing around Hillsborough.
Courtney, incredible job, incredible job. Your tower is amazing. It looks gorgeous, by the way. But what you've done I'm a mom who sustainability and nourishing my children, number one. I want them to be healthy, and then when I'm no longer on the planet, I want them to be healthy on a planet that's going to sustain them and their future generations. So to be able to incorporate this into my community means the world. And now seeing you're another mom and you also are getting this out into your community, and the importance of what we're doing, coming together, feeding our children, nourishing young minds, the curriculum, the growing, the sustainability, all coming together as one. I'm just so proud to be part of this company. I'm so proud to be making an impact this way with others across the globe. And we can really make such an impact in children's lives and future generations with this clean food, to be able to take healthy back and have control over what we put in our mouths and what kind of education and curriculum that we're launching throughout the school systems is just amazing. So thank you so much to our incredible speakers tonight. You are doing amazing work, and I'm so proud to just partner with all of you, those of you on this line that have also partnered with the company and coming together just to make this kind of an impact in the world. So thank you everybody who joined us tonight. If you like what you heard, we need more voices. We need more children to have this technology in their classrooms, share it with a friend, get another mom involved, a teacher, and let's get these tower gardens in all the classrooms around the globe, inside of schools, inside of homes, and just take healthy back one family at a time. So thank you everybody. I'm so grateful that you joined tonight and so excited that we're making this kind of an impact.
Thanks, Andrea.